Let me ask you this. What is the gold standard of marketing and advertising a business? What is it? Well, if you look down and you really look at what your motives and your objectives are in your marketing and advertising, the gold standard is being able to target exactly who you want to target, who is your best customer, and be able to put a message in front of them consistently is the gold standard. So you have a lot of advertising vehicles available to you today, and not all of them hold up to that gold standard. A lot of them are very broad, the most you can target it, maybe if you're talking about digital online, as you target online ads, as you target it to an area, geofence. Social media allows you to do a little bit more targeting, with that. But still, it's a broad brushstroke, and you're counting that somebody is looking on a screen and they're flipping through the thing and they're going to stop on your ad, which is, crazy because they're on social media for entertainment, not for advertising. And that's the basic problem with social media. And you can get around that a lot of times by doing videos and doing video content that's a little entertaining. But for the most part, if you're running just ads on social media, you got to remember they're looking on their phone. They're just flipping, scrolling. They may flip through and your ad not even shows up. It doesn't even register because they're flipping through the screen and they're not looking for that. So that's where direct mail comes in as a viable targeting tool, because it does have the gold standard. You can identify who you want to reach. You can target them exactly. And a lot of people ask me where the mailing lists come from. Well, mailing lists, ironically enough, are basically sold by all the credit bureaus. That's where it starts from. Experian, Equifax, and so on, they all sell that data. So they know everything about you, income, where you work, how long you lived in your house. They have all that. They need all that data to give you a credit rating. And that data is sold to compilers who take it and put other data from other sources to hone down the list to a more specific target. So it's really interesting the amount of data that's available on a mailing list. And it's all dependent upon you when you go to get a mailing list to be able to identify who your best customers are. Who are your best patients? Who do you want to reach? And it's not necessarily the whale that you get, the big customer that came in and you say, oh, I want to get them. But actually, 95, 98% of your customer base is different than that, right? So all of us have these one customers, I call them whales, that come in and they consume your services. They love your service. They spend a lot of money. They're easy to work with. But the fact is there's few of them out there. So you're cutting your universe of potential customers down when you do that. So you want to have it more to the average customer that you want to reach, or the average patient, or the average client. Who are they? What are their criteria? How much money do they make? What is their family status? Do they tend to have, kids? Are they, married, single? Where do they live? So those type of things we can take and we can get a targeted list with that, and then we mail it out to those people. And the type of direct mail piece is dependent largely on who you're trying to reach. So if you're trying to reach businesses that are, 25 to 50, 100, 200 employees, a bigger size operation, a postcard marketing campaign is probably not going to work for you because there's too many filter points in that organization before it gets to that decision maker to think. So with that, maybe a letter mailer works. Or maybe you're selling or marketing you're buying ugly houses. What's the best way to get through? Well, postcard would be effective for that. Or maybe a check mailer, where you mail a check to them. So maybe you're targeting, you want to talk to dentists. And this is from personal experience. We used to mail postcards to dentists, and you get very little results, because what happens is, in every dental practice in America, bar none, they have an office manager, and she is a Nazi. Nobody gets through her and gets to the doctor. Nobody. not a direct mail piece, whatever. It all stops with her. If she's doing her job, it all stops with her, and she's tough, and she's very, very good at what she does. So, but she doesn't make the decision. She just protects the doctor's time and keeps it away. So how do you get to the doctor? Well, one of the things that we do is we do a note card mailer, and we mail it out, and it looks like an invitation or a thank you. And 8 times out of 10, it gets through the doctor. We've actually called practices and talked to the office manager and said, we don't need new patients. You don't need new patients. The lifeblood of a dental practice is new patients. And she's telling me they don't need new patients and they're not interested. No, we mailed a note card to the doctor a few weeks later, and we get a call from him, an appointment to talk to him about his marketing and his marketing and how to expand his practice. So the type of direct mail piece that you send to the audience that you're trying to reach is of utmost importance. You really need to look at it. If you're trying to reach homeowners, consumer lists, postcards generally allow you to mail out a lot of pieces for not a lot of money and get it out. And then it just comes down to the design of the postcard and how to, have a proper headline that attracts attention, and not, just a wandering cliche is what I call it. These businesses that advertise, and it's the headline. There is no headline. Headline should always have the benefit when it comes to a postcard. It is the main benefit of the product or service. It is the why that they should stop going through that stack of mail and, stop with you and look at you and actually put it off the side to call you. It's the headline. And that, like I said, the headline always has a benefit, how you're going to make that prospective customer's life easier. So when you're dealing with something like a note card mailer, you can put more things in it. You can stuff it. You can have little insert cards that you put in the note card. You've got a handwritten message to the person. It gets through, it gets their attention, and then there's a smaller card that's inserted in that it's where you bring the message home and you get them to call on that. Check mailers, I mentioned earlier, check mailers are really simple. They look like, and everybody knows when they get one of these check mailers, they think, this is probably a scam. This is probably junk. I don't know. Maybe it's a check. Somebody's sending me some money. I don't know. And they open it up. And then, once again, it's very important because with all the checks that we send out, we put there's a letter below it. And there's a really strong headline as to the benefit and how they can redeem that check. So it's just basically a coupon delivery vehicle. So if I had to tell you one thing about marketing, it's the gold standard of marketing. Only do marketing that you can target exactly who you want to reach. This broad stuff like Google pay-per-clicks for ads for most small business is insane because you'll never be able to spend as much money as your biggest competitor online. You won't. If you're a small business, you're not going to do that with in a hope that you're going to get something back from it because you've been burned too many times and you've lost too much money, and it's just not going to work. So pay-per-click for small business should never be used as the main emphasis of their marketing strategy. Direct mail is always better because you can target neighborhoods, you can target exactly who you want to reach, and then you put in the other elements to follow it up and back up the direct mail program. So I hope this message has helped you, and if you have any comments, please leave them. We read the comment section below. And if you like this video, please share it with a friend and tell a buddy about the channel, and look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks.